הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. All right, topsy-turvy.
Shabbat shalom.
I wish you long life.
You wish me long life.
I wish everyone a long life filled with joy and fun and silliness. Feel free to not care what you look like, what you do. Move your body because we're getting into the soul spirit. So, the groggers, open up. You guys should have your Purim service right here. Here we go. The groggers spin, the laughter grows. The story of Esther, everybody knows. We stood up strong, we stood up tall. With faith in God, we feared not at all.
Yes.
Now as we together our voices rise to bless our Creator, so good and so wise, with our joy in our hearts, so loud and so true, let's call out together the Baruch Hu. Please rise.
Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu, et Adonai, HaMevorach, HaMevorach, Le'olam va'ed, Le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Mevorach, Le'olam va'ed.
Oh, mine.
Oh my. So together, you guys, you can sit, you can stand, you can go on your head, you can juggle if you want. Top of the next page, let's read together before the Shema. On Purim we cheer, we laugh and we pray, but the Shema is with us each night and each day. Shema Yisrael, hear loud and clear. God is one, we hold it dear. Through joy and through fear, through wrong and through right, we love with our heart, our soul and our might. So shake your grogger, dance and run, but always remember that God is number one. The Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam va'ed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
The bottom of the page. On Purim we laugh, we sing and we cheer, but in every moment the Shekhinah is near. Like Esther stood strong, like Mordechai prayed, we turn to God, our hearts displayed. With joy and with faith we stand here today, ready to lift our voices and say, Adonai, hear our words, both whispered and loud, as we pray the Amidah. Humble yet proud. So we're going to do the first line together in whatever tune comes out. And then we're going to aim for 10 seconds of private thoughts, quiet reflection. Think of the funniest or silliest thing you've ever done or wished you could have done. Please rise.
Adonai שפתי תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך Adonai שפתי תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך Adonai שפתי You know this melody? ופי יגיד תהילתך Okay, silent prayer. Shh. Shh. Ose shalom bimromav uyase shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael Amen.
Please be seated. Wow, that was unexpected. Okay, so I need your help. We're about to do a Megillah reading, but we're going to do it my style, in my way. And I'm going to need your help. I find that we tell the story of Purim. We often will, when we say Haman, we're getting there. Maybe by the end we'll get there. We tend to make noise, but we don't make noise for anything else. So this is the thing. I'm going to need you to do me a favor. I want you, every time you hear the word Melech or King Achashverosh, I want you to go like this. Ready? Melech. King Achashverosh. Haman. No. Much louder. Anger, hatred, move your body. Haman. Boom. Okay. When I say Mordechai, I want you to go like this. Mordechai. Ready? Mordechai. Thank you. King Achashverosh. When we say Esther, I want you to go like this. Yay! Esther. Yay! Mordecai. King Achashverosh. Vashti. Go girl. Vashti. Go girl. All right, who am I missing? Am I missing anyone?
Mordechai.
I did.
Oh, right.
All right, you ready? You got this. You're going to do this with me. Here we go.
Now, I'll need some volunteers to hold the Megillah. So I'll need 3 or 4 volunteers to hold the ganze Megillah. Literally. So who's going to volunteer? I need a couple of adults on the ends, and then some other people in the middle is fine. So good on you. You're looking resplendent. You'll need to come up onto the beamer so we can see it. Here we go. And we're going to unroll. Who else is going to hold on? Max, good on you. I need some people in the middle. They can be little people or big people. Either way is okay. So here we go.
Hey,
keep unrolling. That's it. Keep unrolling. Good. So I need one on the end. Hold the end. Yeah. Hold the end.
Rolling.
Now, there you go.
Rolling with a river.
Okay.
Rolling.
Right. We're
Okay.
right.
All right, we ready?
Okay, we are ready.
And we're going to say the brachot, which is in the bottom of the page that you just did. So there's a blessing. One of the mitzvot that we do is to listen to the Megillah be read. So if you look at the bottom of the page, we read together, Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al mikra Megillah. And then Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asa nisim lavotenu bayamim hahem b'zman hazeh. And one more for good measure. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. ויהי בימי אחשוורוש, הוא אחשוורוש המלך מהודו ועד כוש, 27 המדינה, בימים ההם כשבט המלך אחשוורוש על כיסא מלכותו, אשר בשושן הבירה בשנת 3 למלכו. So King Ahasuerus was the king who ruled over 120 provinces. And this guy was so rich and such a show-off. He had gold and silver and marble and mahogany. And he said, King Ahasuerus said, everybody gets to go and have fun. We're going to have a party, 7 days, and everyone can drink whatever they want out of golden goblets. And there are no restrictions. Doesn't matter how much you want to drink. Doesn't matter if you're young or you're old, you want to party. He's got you covered. And then 7 days in, he goes and says, I want my wife, Queen Vashti, go girl, to come and dance for us wearing her crown.
גם ושתי המלכה עשתה משתי נשים מבית המלכות אשר למלך אחשוורוש ביום השביעי כי טוב לב המלך ביין אמר למאומן וזדה חרבונה ונתה ועבדתה זתר ובחרקס 17 ריסים משרתים את פני המלך אחשוורוש.
Okay, so Queen Vashti, go girl, was having such a good time with her girlfriends. And she's like, you're kidding me? No, I'm having way too much fun. I'm not going to go. So Queen Vashti, go girl, said, yeah, I don't think so. And then the king, Ahasuerus, said, no. Did you just say no to the king? Well, Queen Vashti, go girl, said, yeah, get over it. And the king started crying and saying, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? My God, she's not going to come. And his advisor said, get a grip, mate. You're the king. You know what you need to do. You need to tell Queen Vashti, go girl. She's out. She's out. No more. You do not want someone listening to you. And not only that, if the queen won't listen to the king, guess what's going to happen? No woman will listen to her husband, and God forbid we have a situation like that. So off with her head.
God forbid.
God forbid. Off with her head. So Queen Vashti, go girl, went bye-bye. Meanwhile, King Ahasuerus was really, really lonely, and he didn't know what to do. And they said, I've got a great idea. Clearly, you should choose a woman that has beauty and no brains, because that's all you care about. So let's have a beauty contest. So he did.
ויאמר מומחן לפני המלך והשרים לו על המלך לבדו ושתי המלכה ובשתי המלכה כי על כל השרים ועל כל העמים אשר בכל מדינות המלך אחשוורוש כי יצא דבר המלכה על כל הנשים לעבדות בעליהן ועניהן ואמרום המלך אחשוורוש.
Meanwhile, there was this guy, his name was Mordecai, who was kicked out of Jerusalem along with the other Jews when King Nebuchadnezzar came, and he started settling in a new land. And his sister and her husband, they died, and they had this beautiful girl named Hadassah. Again, beauty was clearly a trait. And Hadassah went and he says, oh, you're so beautiful. I'm so privileged to have raised you. You know what? We're not going to call you Hadassah. We're going to call you Esther. Yay! And do me a favor, don't tell anyone you're
Sam?
Jewish. Listen, they said all of the young women should come and you all get to be chosen. You get to spend 12 months in a spa. They're going to give you lotions, they're going to give you makeup, they're going to do your hair, they're going to make sure your skin is there. So I want you to do whatever they say, but just don't tell anyone you're Jewish. So Esther, yay, said, sure, whatever you say, because you're the man. And so then Mordecai said, huh, great, go, watch you. Meanwhile, Haggai, the head of the harem, went, well, the king plucked woman by woman, day by day, we won't talk about that part, and said, okay, you're the greatest one. And King Ahasuerus came out and immediately saw this beautiful Esther. Yay! Oh, you're so pretty and shapely and wonderful. I want you to be my queen. So Queen Esther, yay, said, why not? And didn't say that she was Jewish.
איש יהודי היה בשושן הבירה ושמו מרדכי בן יאיר בן שמעי בן גישי שמיני אשר גדל מירושלים עם העגלה אשר עגלתה עם יחניה מלך יהודה אשר הגלה נבוכדנצר מלך בבל ויאמן את הדסה אסתר בדודנו כי אין לה אם ואמא והנערה יפת תואר וטובת מראה וממלוד אביה ואמא
Okay, meanwhile, Mordecai, as he was sitting and waiting for Esther, yay, he sat and he listened by the palace gates, and he noticed that two guys, Bigthan and Teresh, were talking about the king behind his back. Never do that, not a nice thing. But not only were they talking about the king Ahasuerus, they said they wanted to kill him. Well, like a good Jewish boy, what does he do? He doesn't confront them, but he goes and he tells on them. And so he goes and he says, they want to kill you, and the king said, great. They didn't. Off with their heads.
אחר הדברים האלה גנה למלך אחשוורוש את המן בן עמדתי וינשאו וישם את כיסו מעל כל הזרים אשר איתו וכל עבדי המלך אשר בשער המלך גרים ומשתחווים להמן כי כן ציווה לו המלך ומרדכי לא יקרא ולא ישתחוו ויאמרו עבדי המלך אשר בשער המלך למרדכי מדוע אתה עובר את מצוות המלך ויהי באומרם אליו יומם ויום ולא שמע עליהם ויגידו להמן.
Meanwhile, while Mordecai did his good deed, King Ahasuerus decided, hey, my wife is so gorgeous and beautiful, I'm clearly going to be spending more time in the palace than I am actually ruling, so therefore I need someone second in charge. So he decided to promote Haman. You guys need some more work. He decided to promote Haman to be second in charge, and Haman said, yeah, I know, I'm so great. And so he started to go and walk down the town, and as he walked down, everybody bowed down to him, and he's like, yeah, I know, I'm so great. And then he came across Mordecai. And Mordecai wouldn't bow down. Everybody said, you have to bow down. And Mordecai says, I can't bow down, I'm Jewish. Don't take it personally, truly. Like, you're great, you are fabulous. But we can't, God is the king. We bow to God, not you. Yeah, it didn't work. So Haman was burning with rage and fury, and like any rational-minded narcissist, he decided that we clearly need to destroy not only him, but everybody. No, that wasn't his idea, because like any wonderful narcissist, he actually didn't have a brain of his own either. So what does he do? Just like the king asked his advisors, Haman, goes to his wife, Zerach, and says, Zerach, what am I going to do? I know that I was promoted as second in charge, and that's really great because I'm so awesome. But I also, there's this guy who won't bow down to me. And Zerach says, you know what? He's not your only problem. If he's doing it because he's Jewish, you got to get rid of all of them. All of them, and I mean now! And Haman said, yes, dear.
ויגידו למרדכי את דברי אסתר, ויאמר מרדכי להשיב את אסתר, את דמי בנפשך להמלאת בית המלך מכל היהודים, כי אם החרש תחרישי בעת הזאת רוח והצלה ויעמוד ליהודים ממקום אחר, ועצו בית אביך תעבדו ימי יודעים לאט כזאת הגעת למלכות.
So, what happens? Mordecai is utterly devastated, and he goes by, he's wandering around saying, oh my God, I can't believe they're going to kill all my people because I wouldn't bow. I've got arthritis anyway. And so, and he's like very upset, and he puts on sackcloth and ashes, which is the sign of people in mourning. And so he goes, and all of a sudden, the guards who are in the palace gates go up to Esther. Yay! And you guys gotta, you gotta be quicker than that. Right, thank you. So it goes up to Esther and said, and they said, hey, your uncle, he's sitting down there, he's wearing sackcloth and ashes, and he's wailing and wailing. And what does Esther do? Esther says, mate, get some good clothes. Come on, we can afford it now. Change. And so she says that to him in her way. And then he says, Mordecai says, Esther, just because you're in your queenie clothes and you've got your queenie nails and you've got your queenie hair and you live in your queenie palace and you've got your queenie servants, guess what, Esther? You're still Jewish. And I'll tell you what, if you, Esther, do nothing and sit stum and do nothing to save your people, guess what? God's not mentioned. There's going to be help for the Jewish people that will come from somewhere else, but we can't say who, right? Somewhere else. But if you, Esther, do nothing, then you and your parents' name will go down and perish.
No.
So, this is my favorite part in the whole story. That's your cue.
Ah, right.
I'll translate afterwards.
ויאמר המן ביום ההוא שמח וטוב לב כראות המן.
Sorry, that's not my favorite part. Sorry, that was not my favorite part. My favorite part is a little bit...
You want the 10 names?
No. Never mind, it's missing. My favorite part is when Esther, yay, stops doing what Mordecai has commanded her to do. And she says, listen, Morty, I can't go because the king didn't raise his golden scepter. We're not talking phallic symbols. Did not do that, so I can't go to him, and he hasn't called me in the last 30 days. If I do, I'm going to get killed. I can't do that. You wouldn't want to ruin this pretty face now, would you? And Mordecai gave his speech. Then she says, snap out of it. It's not about what Mordecai says. It's not about what the king says. It's about what I'm going to say. And Mordecai says, maybe, just maybe, you've been put in this position just for this reason, to save your people. So Esther, yay, said, you know what? I am not just a pretty face. I actually have a brain. They don't know that because they only think I'm a pretty face. So I've got an idea. Mordecai, tell everybody to fast for 3 days. I and my servants are going to do the same thing. And then I've got it covered. And Mordecai did just what Esther commanded. And so then Esther, yay, goes to her husband, the king, and says, oh, sweetie, honey. And he says, oh, Esther, you're so beautiful. And he raises the golden scepter. And then she comes and says, "Oh, sweetie, honey." And he says, "Oh, you are so beautiful. You are so stunning. Whatever you want, I will give it to you. Even half my kingdom. Just stay in those clothes. It's a great color on you." And Esther says, "Thank you so much, sweetheart. Will you do me a favor? Would you please come to a little party that I'm going to plan just for you and Haman?" And King Ahasuerus says, "Whatever you say, whatever you want, it will be yours." And King Ahasuerus tells Haman, "You're invited to the special party." And then Haman starts making his way home, so excited to tell his wife, or maybe not tell his wife, that he is going to have a special party with the king and the queen. But then, now you can do that part. Over here. No, the one you were doing over there.
והמן ביום ההוא שמח וטוב לב בקרירות המן את מרדכי בשער המלך ולא קם ולא זע ממנו וימלוא המן על מרדכי חמה ויתאפק המן ויבוא אל ביתו וישלח ויבוא אל המן ואת זרש אשתו ויספר להם המן את כבוד השרר ורב בניו ואת כל אשר גדלו המלך.
So then, Haman, as he's walking home, he sees Mordecai not bowing, and Haman is really upset. He's promoted second in charge. He's invited to a special party, but that's not good enough. He goes, and this Mordecai is like a thorn in his side. So he goes home to his wife, Sarah, and says, "Sarah, what am I going to do? I know that I'm really special and everyone's bowing to me, but this one guy is just what am I going to do?" And Zerach says, "You know what you have to do? You've got to build a gallows that's 50 cubits high and hang him on it." Duh. And then, thanks. So he's really happy. So he's going to do that. He gets this gallows built. It's fantastic. Then he gets moved and he starts going to the palace to have this beautiful party. So King Ahasuerus and Haman are drinking, and Esther comes wearing her beautiful queenie clothes and her beautiful queenie hair and says, "Oh, you guys look fabulous. Here, drink some more, drink some more." And King Ahasuerus says, "Sweetheart, dearie, what can I do for you? Whatever you want, I will give it to you. You're amazing, you're fabulous." And Haman says what he said. Haman said, so then Esther says, "Sweetheart, the only thing that I want is to pray for my life. Really, that and my family and my people, because there are people that want to hurt us. You don't want that to happen now, do you?" And King Ahasuerus said, "What? Who would want to do? Who dares threaten my wife?" And Queen Esther says, "That man, Haman!"
ויאמר המלך והמן לשדוד עם אסתר המלכה ויאמר המלך לאסתר גם ביום השני במשתה היין מה שאלתך אסתר המלכה ותנתן לך ומה ביקשתך עד חצי המלכות ותעש ותען אסתר המלכה ותאמר אם מצאתי חן בעיניך המלך ואם על המלך טוב תינתן לי נפשי ושאלתי ועמי ובקשתי כי נמכרו אני ועמי להשמיד להרוג ולעבוד והאלו והעבדים ולמשפחות נמכרו וחרשתי כי אין חצר שובה ונזק המלך.
Well, King Ahasuerus saw red, was furious. "Off with his head," he says, literally. And guess what? A little twist of fate. Everything in Purim is twisting topsy-turvy. Guess what happens? The gallows that were built for Haman Oh, my bad. The gallows that were built for Mordecai. The king says, put Haman on it. And not just Haman, but all of his sons. Yeah, that's fair enough. Good. Well, I'll tell you what. What happened was all of his sons, and Esther says, that's really great. And King Ahasuerus said, why aren't you happy, my pretty? And she says, because that's not enough. Because it's great that he's going. But you know what he did with your signature? He said, something really important. He said, so important that I actually want to quote it to you because it's that important. We'll get it there. He said, there is a certain people scattered and dispersed among the other peoples in all the provinces of your realm, whose laws are different from yours, and they won't obey the king's laws, and it's not in your majesty's interest to tolerate them, said Haman to the king. The king took his ring from his hand and gave it to Haman, the enemy of the Jews, and said, whatever you want, all the people you need, you do whatever you want. I want to kill them. So he says, on the 13th day of the month, he cast lots. 13th day of the month, the king's scribes were summoned, and a decree was issued, as Haman directed to the king's official, to the governors in every province, and to the officials of every people, to every province in its own script, and to every people in its own language, so no one will not understand. The orders were issued in the name of King Ahasuerus and sealed with the king's signet. Accordingly, written instructions were dispatched by couriers to all the king's provinces to destroy, massacre, and exterminate all the Jews, young and old, children and women, on a single day, on the 13th day of the 12th month, that is the month of Adar, and to their possessions. So Esther says, you signed that. He says, I didn't read the fine print. Esther, yay, says that's no excuse. Always read the fine print. And said, okay, well, let me take it back. Well, Esther said, you can't. It's a law. You made it, saying you can't take back anything that the king said. So instead, Mordecai says you need to write a new law. You need to write a new thing that goes out to everyone and says, guess what? You have a right to defend yourself. You, Jews, have a right to get arms and to be able to attack anyone that comes to attack you. And so they did. And so they did for a terrifying day on the 13th of Adar. So the Jews were fighting, and Haman and his sons were slain on the gallows.
And you can see here, it looks completely different because it's sung in one paragraph. So this section here on the Megillah is completely different. וילכו היהודים בכל עניהם מכות חרב והרג ועבדו ועשו בשניהם כרצונם בשושן הבירה הרגו היהודים אבל 500 איש ואת ברדששה ואת דלפון ואת אסתפתה ואת פורדה ואת אדלליה ואת אריזתה ואת פרמשתה ואת הריסי ואת אריזי ואת ביתי 10 בני עמד בן עמדתה 10 היהודים הרגו ובזלות שלחו את ידם ביום ההוא.
And so on the 13th of the 12th month, that is the month of Adar, when the king's command and decree were to be executed, and that very day which the enemies of the Jews had expected them to get into their power, the opposite happened, and the Jews got their enemies and into their power. And the Jews smote all of their enemies with the stroke of a sword, with slaughter and destruction, and did what would have been done to them for those that hated them. And Shushan the castle and the Jews slew and destroyed 500 men. And Parshadatha, Dalphon, Aspara, Poratha, Daila, Aridatha, Parmasta, Arisai, Aridai, and Vezata, the 10 sons of Haman, the son of Hamidata, the Jews' enemy, they were slain, but they did not lay hands on their stuff. right? They said, you can take their stuff. I don't want their stuff. I only want to protect myself. The Jews defeated the enemies, and so we celebrate.
ואת יום 15 בו מכל שנה זו שנה כימים אשר נלכה בהם היהודים מאביהם והחדש אשר נהפך להם מיגון לשמחה וליום טוב לעשות אותם ימי משתה ושמחה ומשלוח מנות איש לרעהו מתנות לאביונים וקיבל היהודים את אשר הלכו לעשות ואת אשר כתב מרדכי עליהם כי המן בן עמדתה אגגית שרר כל היהודים חשב על היהודים לעבדם והפל בור הוא וגורל לעמם ולעבדם ובעל לבני המלך.
So Mordecai recorded these events and sent dispatches to the Jews throughout the provinces of King Ahasuerus, near and far, charging them to observe the 14th and the 15th days of Adar every year. The 15th month in walled cities, so in Jerusalem they'll be celebrating it tomorrow. The same days on which the Jews enjoyed relief from their foes, and the same month which had been transformed for them, one of grief and mourning to one of festive joy. They were to observe them as days of feasting and merrymaking, and as occasions to send mishloch manot, gifts to one another, and matanot levionim, and gifts to the poor. The Jews accordingly assumed as an obligation which they had begun to practice, in which Mordecai prescribed for them. For Haman, son of Abidata the Agagite, the foe of the Jews, had plotted to destroy the Jews and cast that is Purim, to crush and exterminate them. But when Esther, came before the king, he commanded with the propagation of his decree, let the evil plot which devised against the Jews recoil on his own head. So they impaled him and his sons on the stake. For that reason, these days were named Purim, after Pur. In the view then, all of the instructions in the letter that was sent out, the Jews were to undertake and irrevocably obligated themselves and their descendants, that's us, who might join them, to observe these 2 days in the manner prescribed at the proper time each year. Consequently, these days are recalled and observed every generation by every family, every province, and every city. And these days of Purim shall never cease from among the Jews, and the memory of them shall never perish among their descendants.
וישם המלך אחשוורוש מעל הארץ ויהי הים וכל מעשה תקוו וגבורתנו ופרשתה כגדלת מרדכי אשר גידלו המלך הלא הם כתובים על ספר דברי הימים למלכי מדיהם ופרס כי מרדכי היהודי משנה למלך אחשוורוש וגדול ליהודים ורצוי לרב אחיו דרש טוב לעמוד דבר שלום לכל זרעו.
These days of Purim shall be observed in their proper time as Mordecai the Jew, and now Queen Esther, has obliged them to do, and just as they have assumed for themselves and their descendants the obligation of fast with their lamentations. And Esther's ordinance was validating these observances of Purim, and it was recorded in a scroll. And Mordecai the Jew ranked next to King Ahasuerus and was highly regarded by the Jews and popular with the multitude of brethren. He sought the good of his people and interceded for the welfare of all of his kindred. The end.
Yay!
There you go. Roll that. Oh, there's long enough in there. I'll do that. You sing.
Guys, just hold it tight, please.
Right, so we will need your little song sheets here because you will know. Chag Purim, Chag Gadol LaYehudim, Masechot Rashanim, Shrimu Rikudim, Havan Arisha,
Rush, rush, rush.
Havan Arisha,
Rush, rush, rush.
Havan Arisha,
Rush, rush, rush.
Marashanim, Chag Purim, Chag Gadol LaYehudim, Masechot Rashanim, Smirot Rikudim, Havan Arisha, Havan Arisha,
Rush, rush, rush.
Chag Arisha, Bara Ashanim, Ani Purim, Sameach Umvadeach, Halo Rak Paim Ashana Avo Lehitareach, Lalai, Rai, Rai, Yai, Rai, 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 Yai, Rai, 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 Yai, Rai, 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 Ani Purim, Sameach Umvadeach, Halo Rak Paim Ashana Avo Lehitareach, Yai, Rai, Rai, Yai, Rai, 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 Yai, Rai, Rai, Rai. If I wasn't drunk beforehand, I'll feel a little bit drunken now. Now, just so you know, there is alcoholic and non-alcoholic punch outside. Don't get them confused. It would be bad. Mishem, nichnas adar. Mishem, nichnas adar. Nichnas adar. Marbim besimcha. Nichnas adar. Marbim besimcha. Mishem, nichnas adar. Mishem, nichnas adar. Nichnas adar. Marbim besimcha. Nichnas adar. Marbim besimcha.
I need some volunteers. La Kova Shali, come on up. Who knows it? Come on. Some of you know this. Ready?
Even my children know it and they're
Where
outside.
are they? All right. Oh, are you volunteering, Kim? Thank you, Kim.
What a good look.
Stunning. You should have been queen.
Even if I don't know it, I'm going to come up.
Fantastic. Got to show what you got. All right.
לכובע שלי שלוש פינות לכובע שלי ואם לא היו לו שלוש פינות לא היה זה הכובע שלי. So, in order to do this, you need to know all the signs. So, hat, שלי, mine, שלוש, 3, pinot, corners. My hat, it has 3 corners. In English, it's my hat, it has 3 corners. 3 corners have my hat, and had it not 3 corners, it would not be my hat, right? Got it? Here we go. לכובע שלי שלוש פינות לכובע שלי ואם לא היו לו שלוש פינות לא היה זה הכובע שלי. Good, you got the idea. Now, we have to take a word out, right? So when we point at your hat, we're going to go la sheli shalosh pinot la sheli. Now, if you say the word, you're out, right? This is the rule. So here we go. La sheli shalosh pinot la sheli ואם לא היו לו שלוש פינות לא היה זה שלי. Okay, you got the idea? Now, we're going to take out kova and sheli. So it's la שלוש פינות la ואם לא היו לו שלוש פינות לא היה זה Good. We're taking out la kova, sheli, and shalosh. So, la pinot la ואם לא היו לו פינות לא היה זה Good. So we're taking out kova, sheli, shalosh, and pinot. So, la לא היו לו לא היה זה Good.
now.
Give yourselves a round of applause.
A little bit faster. לכובע שלי שלוש פינות, שלוש פינות, לכובע שלי, ואם לא היו לו שלוש פינות, לא היה זה הכובע שלי. Very good.
Well done.
ליצן
Well done.
קטן נחמד, רוקד עם כל אחד. ליצן קטן שלי, אולי תרקוד איתי, אולי תרקוד איתי, אולי תרקוד איתי. Okay, hang on. Oh, once there was a wicked man, and Haman was his name, sir. He would have murdered all the Jews, though they were not to blame, sir. Oh, today we'll marry me. Oh, today we'll marry me. Oh, today we'll marry me. And Nasham Hamantashen. And Esther was the lovely queen of King Ahasuerus. When Haman said he'd kill us all, oh my, how he did scare us. Oh, today we'll marry me. Oh, today we'll marry me. Oh, today we'll marry me. And Nasham Hamantashen. And Mordechai, her cousin bold, said, what a dreadful chutzpah. If guns were invented now, this Haman I would shoot her. Oh, today he'll marry me. Oh, today he'll marry me. Oh, today we'll marry me. And Nasham Hamantashen. When Esther speaking to the king of Haman's blood made mention, aha, said he, oh no, he won't, he'll spoil his bad intention. Oh, today we'll marry me. Oh, today we'll marry me. Oh, today we'll marry me. And Nasham Hamantashen. The guest of honor he shall be, the clever Mr. Smarty. And high above us he shall swing at a little hanging party. Oh, today we'll marry me. Oh, today we'll marry me. Oh, today we'll marry me. And Nasham Hamantashen. Of all his cruel and unkind ways, this little joke did cure him. And don't forget him, we owe our thanks for this early feast of Purim. Oh, today we'll marry me. Oh, today we'll marry me. Oh, today we'll marry me. And Nasham Hamantashen. At the bottom of the page, Elimelech of Gilhofen drank L'chaim once too often, drank L'chaim and became a trifle gay. So he put his studies by, tipped his hat across his eye, and he called for his fiddlers to play. When the fiddlers took his fiddle, put his bow across the middle, and the fiddled out a little tune. When the fiddler with his fiddle, diddle, diddle, Elimelech bounced just like a toy balloon. Elimelech, feeling frisky, took another drop of whiskey. Took too often, down his gullet it did go. Called each friend and each relation to put to his Purim celebration. Then he roared for the piper to blow. Well, the piper tweeted, and the fiddle it repeated, fiddle, diddle, diddle, day. When the piper tweedled, and the fiddle it repeated, and Elimelech was beside himself with glee. Then he drank 3 times too often, and his eyes began to soften, and the tears began to trickle from his chin. Oh, his ears, they were buzzing, till a sympathetic cousin whispered, please let the drummer begin. Well, the drummer's drum he beat it, and the piper tweeted, and the fiddle it repeated it encore. The drum was tweeting, and the fiddle it was beating. Elimelech fell asleep, began to... Oh, it happened in Gilhofen just from drinking thrice too often, and there was one thing more that must be said. At your Purim celebration, use a little moderation, or you'll wind up with a grogger for a head. When the drum start tweeting and the fiddle it is beating, and the piper gaily fiddle-dee, and your head it starts a-whirling like a grogger that is twirling, then they're playing fiddle-diddle-diddle-dee. Chag Sameach!
Purim Sameach! Well done. Thank you. You okay? Is that fun? I love doing that too. Hello, you. How you doing?
Now, so, in just a moment, I'm going to need everyone to pop their grudge